Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I have a top 10 video for you guys, but a lot of you guys are really excited. I haven't done a top 10 in a long time, but on today's top 10, we're going to be talking about the top 10 things that the GTA Trilogy, the Definitive Edition, should and shouldn't do. So as we now know, Rockstar is remastering 3 classic GTA games, GTA 3, GTA Vice City, and GTA San Andreas. Now, we don't know what the final product is going to look like, but we can assume that there's going to be some kind of graphical changes and possibly some type of gameplay changes. And so in this video, I'm going to be talking about the top 10 things that the new GTA Trilogy should and shouldn't do. I've played all of these games. I've played Vice City a bunch of times. I've beaten it when I was a kid. I've beaten GTA 3 a bunch of times. I've beaten San Andreas a bunch of times. I played these games so much when I was a kid. A lot of people think that I'm just from GTA Online, but I've actually played every single one of these 3D GTA games, and I've beaten all of them numerous times when I was a kid and even as an adult. I've done tons of playthroughs on them as well. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the top 10 things that I think these games should and shouldn't do. Some things that they can improve when they remaster the games, and some things that they can avoid. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Top 10 things the GTA Trilogy should and shouldn't do. Starting off at number 10, we have fixed the Dodo controls in GTA 3. So in GTA 3, in the final island, Shoreside Vale, you can actually find a Dodo at Francis International Airport. Now the Dodo in GTA 3 is actually the first flyable vehicle in a 3D GTA game. But not only is it the first flyable vehicle in a 3D GTA game, but it's also the most difficult. This thing is so difficult to actually learn how to master. And basically, when you take off with this thing, the game doesn't give you any kind of tutorial on how to fly it, and you will constantly stall, you'll constantly fall in the water, you'll die. I tried to fly this, and I died a bunch of times crashing in the water. I used to be able to fly this thing. Eventually, I did get the hang of it, and basically what you gotta do is you gotta gain as much speed as you can when you go down the runway, and then basically push up on the stick. I'm playing on the controller, so I push up on the left stick. And the second that you see sparks on the runway, you want to let go of that. The plane will automatically then pull up. Then once you're basically in the air, you want to constantly hit up on the stick, not too much, but constantly at a good rate, hit up on the stick. Let the plane go down from time to time. It'll regain altitude going back up, hit down on the stick, and you can keep flying for a good amount. I flew all the way from Shoreside Vale to Portland. However, though, this is still too complicated for flying a plane. It should not be this complicated for flying a plane, especially in a 3D GTA game. So please make the controls easier, because I guarantee you a lot of new players, when they play GTA 3 and they get in that Dodo, they are going to die a bunch of times, and it's just uncomfortable with these current controls. So make it easier to fly in general. Next at number 9 is change Vic Vance's voice actor and appearance in GTA Vice City. Now, even though Vic Vance plays a very small role in Vice City, he's on screen for less than a minute, and then he's killed. He's actually very important to the plot, because he's Lance Vance's brother, and so Lance ends up finding Tommy because he was looking for Vic's killer. So that's a big reason on how Lance ends up actually meeting up with Tommy. And eventually, Vic Vance is avenged when Tommy and Lance end up killing Diaz. Now, Vic Vance is very important because 2 years prior, in a prequel game, Vice City Stories, which came out 4 years after the original Vice City, he's the main protagonist. So he has his own game and his own story, and it shows you how Vic actually got into the drug business. And Vic actually looks a lot different and sounds a lot different than he does in Vice City. Take a listen to what he sounds like here at the end of Vice City Stories.
I've been making moves. I got a hold of 20 keys, man.
Are you crazy? Get rid of it.
No, all we gotta do is sit on it. It's hidden out of sight, out of town, man. We lay low and then sell it.
No, I am not interested. Got it?
Okay, man. Whatever you say.
That's right.
Come on, let's pop.
So that's how Vic sounds and looks in Vice City Stories. Let's take a look at how he looks and sounds in Vice City.
Got it?
100% pure grade A Colombian, my friend.
Let me see it.
The greens?
10s and 20s. Used.
I think we have a deal, my friend.
Oh, shit!
So yeah, that's the same Vic Vance there. Now the reason that Vic Vance looks so much different in Vice City than in Vice City Stories, because even though he was a character in Vice City, the whole character for his prequel was not established yet. Rockstar didn't decide on that until years later, and decided to change him up. So in Vice City, he just looks so much different. In Vice City, he looks like an old man. You know, Vic is supposed to be somewhere in his mid-30s. I tried to find his exact age online, and some people were saying he was 28. Other people were saying he was in his mid-30s. Not even the GTA Wiki could have a definite answer on it. And on the GTA Wiki, they did say that Lance was 32 at the time of Vice City. So I'd say that Vic is somewhere in his mid-30s. But yet, in Vice City, he looks like he's in his late 40s to early 50s, and it also looks like he's struggling to hold those two briefcases. Now, I know what some people are going to say. Maybe it was a drug use. Maybe that's, what kind of turned Vic into an old man, because drugs destroy people. However, there's no proof that Vic was actually abusing drugs. Sure, he was dealing it, but there's no proof that he was actually using it. And in 2 years, somebody wouldn't age and change that much, and certainly they wouldn't develop an accent like that. Vic was from the US. So, but in Vice City, he has a bit of a foreign accent. So they could really change this. They should change this. I know it's not that big of a deal, but it would mean a lot to the fans of Vice City Stories, because this would be the link between Vice City Stories and Vice City. So what I think they should do is they should change Vic's appearance. Make him look just like he looked in Vice City Stories in the same cutscene. Obviously, he's gonna die, but also change his voice actor. Bring back Dorian Missick, the original voice actor for Vic. Have him say the exact same line. I think we have a deal, my friend, before dying. But have them say that in Vic's voice actor in Vice City Stories, and make him look like he did in Vice City Stories. If you do that, it would mean so much to the fans of Vice City Stories, and it will be that huge connector between the two games. At number 8, we have fixed the first-person aiming on console. So this one is specific to console, but it's a pretty big problem. Now, as you guys know, aiming with an assault rifle in Vice City and GTA 3 is just so much easier on PC, because on PC, you would basically just hold down the fire button and you could just spray easily, just point and shoot where you want to aim. On console, though, it basically takes you in this whole first-person mode, and you have to carefully aim exactly where you're shooting. You can eventually get good at it, like I was here, but you're at a big disadvantage. If you just stop when you're getting shot at and just aim like this, you're gonna get hit a bunch of times. It's always better to use a submachine gun like an MP5 or even a Magnum instead of an assault rifle. In GTA 3, the AK-47 does lock on, but in the M16 doesn't. In Vice City, the M4 and the Kruger does not lock on, so you gotta manually aim like this. What they could do is they could improve the movements when shooting an assault rifle, or better yet, they could do it where the assault rifles could actually lock on. So in Vice City, they could do it where it locks on. In San Andreas, assault rifles lock on, but they don't in Vice City and in GTA 3, so they could change that. Moving on to number 7, we have Keep San Andreas, local multiplayer. And now this I'm pretty worried about. So basically what this is in GTA San Andreas, there are these red markers that are scattered across the map. There's one in Los Santos, one in San Fierro, one in Las Venturas, and there's a few in the countryside, I believe. And basically what happens is player 2 connects, they hit a button, and then they're automatically in the game with you. And so basically this isn't like complete split screen because it's not divided between 2 screens, but it's local. It's basically couch play with a friend of yours. And so basically you guys are on the same screen, but you see everything together. And then when you're in the car, one person is using a drive-by weapon, the other person drives. You can basically explore the whole map. You can mess around. You can go from point A on the map all the way across the whole map to point B. You can fly different types of air vehicles together. Some you can't get in together because they don't have enough spots. But the point that I'm making is that this mode is actually pretty fun. It's a lot of fun, and you can also play it even through PlayStation together. I actually do that with SharePlay. I sometimes play with SharePlay with my friends. As you guys see, my friend connected to me through SharePlay, and so he's not even there with me. He's online, and so we still managed to play this through SharePlay together. It's a lot of fun, but I'm really scared that with the remastered version of San Andreas, they might cut a feature like this, because they might say it, oh, nobody plays, couch co-op together, but people still play this, and you can connect through SharePlay, so please, Rockstar, don't take this out. It makes San Andreas so much funner. At number 6, we have a very simple one, which is bring an actual functional map to GTA 3. Now, in GTA 3, there is no actual map in the game. That's right. It's the only 3D GTA game without a map. Obviously, we know what Liberty City looks like, but the point I'm making is you can't pause the game like you can Vice City and San Andreas and just look at where you are on the map. So basically, you have to kind of memorize the city. And some people like this style of gameplay, but this is kind of old. Give us a map in GTA 3 where we can also see exactly where we are. I don't have a problem with this personally because I've memorized the map, but a lot of other players that are especially new to the game, they're going to have a lot of problems because certain missions, it makes it seem like you're on one island, but you actually have to go to the other island because of the way that the map icons work. So please have a functional map in GTA 3. Next at number 5, we have do not take out any music from these games. Let's listen to 2 of my favorite songs in GTA 3. None of these songs are copyright, by the way. So those are 2 of my favorite songs in GTA 3, and what I loved about playing GTA 3 for you guys, I can play the radio, I can play head radio, and I can play lips radio. The majority of those songs on there are not copyrighted. They're in fact designed specifically for the game. So there's a lot of really cool songs, not just in GTA 3, but in Vice City. I mean, Flash FM, Wave 103, Fever in Vice City, V-Rock. Vice City, I think, has the best music in the series, but San Andreas has some pretty good music. Playback FM, Radio Los Santos, Radio X, I could just go on and on. There's a lot of really good music in these games, and what scares me is, with copyright, Rockstar could really take out some music in these games. They might not want to redo the licenses, because in GTA 4, 10 years after the game came out, Rockstar actually took out the majority of the Vladivostok FM songs because they didn't want to pay the license for it, again, to renew it in the game. And so they put in some new songs, but these new songs are not as great as the old songs, so they basically ruined part of GTA 4's soundtrack. And I don't want that to happen here. I don't want any of these songs removed. I want these songs to stay. Now, I know that San Andreas has had some songs removed in the remastered versions on PS3, but please, don't do this. Keep it original. Keep all the music in the game. You're Rockstar. You're Take-Two Interactive. You're a multi-billion-dollar company. There should be no reason why you cannot rebuy these licenses on these songs again. And at number 4, we have Fix the Annoying Missions. Now, all 3 games that are being remastered, San Andreas, Vice City, and GTA 3, have some really bad missions in them. And by bad missions, I mean these missions just have bad design, and these are annoying missions. There's nothing wrong with having a hard and challenging mission. I mean, End of the Line is a really hard mission in San Andreas, and yet that's one of the best missions in the entire GTA series. I'm talking instead about bad missions, missions that can be fixed. Now, I'm not going to talk about all the bad missions in this part because I could spend, 30 minutes just talking about all the bad missions in those 3 games. But basically, I made a video, top 5 worst missions in San Andreas, for instance. If you guys want to check that out, I'll have that linked at the end. But the worst mission in GTA 3, in my opinion, is Sam, where you basically have to shoot down a plane with a spank, that's a drug that you gotta pick up. Then you gotta take it all the way across the map and avoid 5 stars of cops. And it's just so frustrating sometimes shooting down the plane. In Vice City, the worst mission is probably Copland, where you have to go and blow up a coffee shop, and then Lance is just basically, it's so hard to keep him alive in the mission because the cops will constantly keep ramming your vehicle until you explode. You got to get all the way back to the mansion, and Lance oftentimes delays in the car, gets blown up, and it fails. And the worst mission in San Andreas is probably supply lines. Now, supply lines, this doesn't really need an introduction. The controls with the little RC Dodo plane, the fact that you gotta fly the different points in the map and just blow up all these Vance, and then you gotta get it back to Zero's RC shop, and if you don't get it back there in time, it fails. And I could just go on and on talking about bad missions. So a lot of these missions, Rockstar knows what missions are bad in this game. Redesign these missions, make them more reasonable. Don't put really unreasonable objectives in this. If these games are being remastered, these missions should also be fixed, especially with some issues they may have. No! 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 Oh, God. Ugh. Number 3 is Fix St. Mark's. So we talked before about Rockstar fixing annoying missions, but they actually need to fix an entire neighborhood in GTA 3. Now, what's wrong with St. Mark's? Why is this neighborhood broken? This neighborhood, you almost can never visit it again once you complete a certain mission. So once you complete Sayonara Salvatore in GTA 3, this is the mission where you actually kill Salvatore for betraying you. Once you kill him, Salvatore's the mob boss, leader of the Leone family. When you try to visit St. Mark's again, this neighborhood is controlled by the Leone family, and every single single time you visit it, yup, they shoot at you. But there's a lot of neighborhoods that gangs shoot at Claude, and why is this one the worst? The reason this one is the worst is because a lot of the Leonis, they actually have Spaz 12 shotguns. So they will actually have shotguns that they will shoot at you with. And the moment that you drive in this neighborhood, you are dead. You will die instantly. Just within a few seconds, your car will get blown up. Sometimes your car will get blown up instantly. You can't visit this neighborhood. And the worst part is, there's actually a repeatable mission called Turismo, and for El Burro. And this mission is basically a race. And part of that race goes through St. Mark's, which makes it almost impossible to complete this race a second time. So best bet, complete this race the first time before you actually do Sayonara Salvatore. But this neighborhood needs to be fixed. You shouldn't need to drive into a neighborhood and instantly get blown up each time. What if I want to visit this neighborhood? It shouldn't be this bad. I don't mind that the Leonis shoot at me. I don't have a problem with that. But don't give them overpowered shotguns where they blow you up instantly. It's so annoying. At number 2, we have do not censor or delete any missions from the GTA Trilogy. Now, I'm really worried about this. I'm really worried about certain missions being cut from the game, or even certain parts of missions being censored. And the reason I'm really worried about this is because, face it, the old GTA games were just much more violent and gruesome than GTA 5. They just were. There were some dark moments like the torture scene in GTA 5, but GTA 5 had nowhere near as many dark and brutal moments as the old GTA games. The purpose of this was that the GTA games are rated M games. These are mature games meant for mature audiences. You play as a gangster in every single GTA game. This is not a happy story. So there's going to be some pretty dark and gruesome moments in these games. And if Rockstar cuts any of these moments out of the games, I'm going to lose all respect that I have for them. Now, let me talk about some missions that I think might be cut from the game, which I really hope they're not. The thing that I think might be cut is in GTA 3, there's the Marty Chonks missions.
My name's Chonks, Marty Chonks. I run the bitchin' dog food factory around the corner. I got money troubles, but hey, who doesn't, right? I'm meeting my bank manager later. He's a crooked bastard that keeps bumping up the loan repayment so he can cut a slice. Take my car, pick him up, and bring him back here. I got a little surprise for that blood-sucking leech.
The Marty missions are given to you by a serial killer named Marty Chunks. He owns a dog food factory right around the corner in which he calls you on that payphone. Now, Marty has Claude pick up several people and bring them back to the dog food factory. He has you bring back his bank manager, who he then kills brutally and turns him into dog food.
Get your hands off me ass!
Take the car to the crusher to get rid of the evidence. Get out of the car and the crane will pick it up. He then has you bring 2 thieves over to his dog food factory who he paid to break into his apartment to make it look like it was an actual burglary. Then he would collect the insurance money, but the thieves got greedy. So he has Claude bring them back to the factory.
Easy there, partner. Whoa! Put it down. Come on, put it down.
Get the car to respray to get rid of any evidence. Yeah, Marty doesn't want his new car crushed. He also kills them and turns them into dog food. He then has you bring over his wife to the dog food factory, and he also turns her into dog food.
Hattie, stop!
Ugh. Take the car and dump it in the sea. This will get rid of any evidence. Then finally, he actually has you bring over his wife's boyfriend, who he owes money to. And he thinks he's going to do the same thing to him, but he actually kills Marty. There's Marty. That's the first time you actually see what he looks like.
Carl, hi. I need more time to get your money. But if you just step into my office...
It's far too late for that, Marty. You had your chance. But now, I'm taking over the business.
Asshole!
Huh. So these are pretty brutal missions. It shows you what a psycho Marty is. And also, it shows you Claude's personality. It shows the character of Claude well. It shows you how much of a bad guy Claude is. Because Claude doesn't care who he kills. He doesn't care how he kills them. As long as he's paid, he doesn't care what he's doing. And that's the point of Claude. He's one of the most evil GTA characters of all time. Now, in Vice City, I'm worried about them censoring the mission Treacherous Swine. Now, this is actually one of Colonel Cortez's early missions in the game, in which he has Tommy kill Gonzalez. And he has Tommy kill Gonzalez with a chainsaw.
I'm gonna shut that big mouth of yours.
He asked me for everything.
He's got a blade. Stop running, you fat slime ball. Away from me, you cheap bastard. Oh, sweet Jesus. I've wasted my life and my looks. Stand still and I'll make it quick.
Tommy's such a psycho. Go and kill Gonzalez.
I did your wife, you poor bastard. I'll pay you double, Tommy, double. But you're squealing. No one cares about it, so... Just like training.
Now you don't need to kill Gonzalez with the chainsaw. You can kill him in any other way you want, but the game really wants you to kill him with the chainsaw. And I could see this being cut from the game. This was actually really important because this game was entirely based on Scarface, or a huge chunk of it, and the chainsaw was actually a big part of Scarface. That was the whole point of it. So killing Gonzalez with a chainsaw, I could see them replacing this, and instead they could make Colonel Cortez pass Tommy like a gun or pass him like a knife, and he says, "Here, use this." Keep the chainsaw in the game. That scene was important because you actually saw Gonzalez running away, and it showed you just also how much of a psycho Tommy is, that he's going to kill somebody with a chainsaw. Now, I know some people are going to talk about the cut dialogue from Vice City. There was originally some cut dialogue from Vice City that was actually censored, but I don't think most players are asking for that dialogue to return. Most players, I don't think, care that much about it. In 2003, Rockstar was basically sued because certain characters in the Cuban and Haitian gang storyline said some things that were kind of ignorant, and so Rockstar cut those out because they didn't want to be sued. The purpose of those characters saying those lines was to show that those characters were ignorant. Those characters were ignorant, they were bigots. That was the whole purpose of it. But unfortunately, Rockstar didn't want to get sued, and so they cut those lines. I can understand that to a degree. However, though, I don't want any missions being cut from the game. I don't really care about the dialogue in those missions, but I don't want the missions actually being cut. I don't want any missions being deleted from the game. And one scene that I think could be censored in San Andreas is, I think, the scene in Deconstruction. So CJ newly arrives to San Fierro, and his sister actually gets insulted by a bunch of construction workers. CJ goes on a total rampage in response to that, starts murdering all of the construction workers, and in the end, he actually buries the foreman who's in a porta potty, buries him in cement and suffocates him. This has got to be one of the most brutal deaths in a GTA game. So I hope this stuff isn't censored, because it shows you the characters that you play as, they're not good people. That's the whole point. And it shows you the dark criminal themes in these games. So I really, really hope none of this stuff gets censored, none of these missions get removed. Keep it the way it is. Keep it the way it is in the PS4 versions in GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. Keep it that way. Don't remove any missions, or don't censor any missions either. Before I reveal the number one thing the GTA Trilogy should do, I wanted to make a special mention, which is add checkpoints to the paramedic and firefighter missions. Now, the reason that the paramedic and firefighter missions are so difficult in the old GTA games is because there's no checkpoints, meaning that you have to do the whole thing at once to complete it. So, if you flip the fire truck or the ambulance and it gets blown up, you fail. If you leave the fire truck or the ambulance and it gets blown up, you fail. If you kill a patient that you're supposed to pick up with the ambulance, it fails. There's just so many ways that it can fail. So they should add a level save. If you get up to like level 10 or something like that, it should save from that point. And you should have a button where you can reset it back to level 1 if you want. Because it's so annoying when you fail and you gotta do all the paramedic missions once again. Another special mention is allow modding. Now, I'm playing San Andreas here, and San Andreas is probably the most modded GTA game out of the trilogy between GTA 3 and Vice City. And there's so many crazy mods that people make on San Andreas. Clothing mods, vehicle mods, they make houses, they make new jets, there's so many cars that people add, new customization for cars. There's just so many crazy mods that people add. But unfortunately, Take-Two Interactive goes crazy with some of these mods sometimes, and they will go after these mods, and they will shut them down, which is just a real shame, because it just adds more life to these games when you allow mods. And I'd like to see mods also on console, you know, something like maybe like Skyrim mods on console, but for the old GTA games. Wouldn't that be cool if you're just playing on console and you can also download mods? I think that would be a really cool feature to the game. Let's just hope that Take-Two Interactive doesn't ruin it. And the number one thing the GTA Trilogy should do is allow Tommy and Claude to swim. That's right, allow Tommy and Claude to swim. A lot of you guys probably knew this one was coming. In GTA 3 and Vice City, both Tommy and Claude cannot swim. The second that they enter the water, they're dead. It's over. They lose their health, you can't get out of the water, and they die. And this is the most frustrating thing probably about Vice City and GTA 3. In San Andreas, players can swim, CJ can swim, so there's not really, a big deal there. But for Vice City and GTA 3, this needs to be fixed, because at times, this can be a game-breaking mechanic, because what I've always hated about, Vice City and GTA 3, even though I love these games so much, what I've hated about these games is when you're trying to get into a boat, because oftentimes when you try to get into a boat, sometimes you'll press triangle and you get in the boat right away. You don't even need to do anything. Other times you need to jump into the boat, and then when you actually dock the boat, you have to jump on the dock, and that's what I really hated about it, because I'm always scared that I'm gonna miss the dock by just a few inches. I'm gonna land in the water and I'm gonna die and I'm gonna get wasted. That's what I've always got so scared about going near the water in these games. And the problem is that even if you touch such small amounts of water, you die. I mean, take a look at this. Look at Claude right here. Claude will just touch basically the tip of the water right here and he'll die instantly. What the hell? Like, he can't even swim in this? And the thing about this is Claude is actually technically from San Fierro. I mean, I know there's no proof that he's from San Fierro, but he owned a garage in San Fierro, so he must have lived in San Fierro for some years. He's from a coastal city, and yet he doesn't know how to swim. I mean, seriously, Claude, if you're gonna drown in this much water, I mean, how do you take a bath, dude? Frankly speaking, I don't want to know. But anyways, these characters can't swim. That's the problem. And even Tommy Vercetti in Vice City can't swim. And Vice City, it's Miami. It's based on Miami. There's several islands, which a swimming feature would make it so much useful. And there's times when you play these games, when you play GTA 3 or you play Vice City, the police will actually knock you right into the water. So like when you have a lot of stars, the police in these games were just so aggressive that they would just constantly keep smashing into you. And so oftentimes you get knocked in the water and you're dead instantly. There's nothing you can do at that point. Give me this. Oh God. No! No, no, no! Oh my... And look at this, for instance, this pickup right here, guys. There's a sniper rifle at the edge of the bridge right here. And this sniper rifle, if you jump down here and you try to pick the sniper rifle up, you can't get back up. There's no way for you to get back up on the bridge once you pick up that sniper rifle. There's no way for you to get out of that situation. The game wants you to take a boat to pick up this sniper rifle. But what if you didn't have a boat? What if you just saw the sniper rifle on the side? When I was driving down the side of the bridge once, I actually noticed that sniper rifle, and so I jumped down to try to pick it up. I can get the sniper rifle, sure, but I can't get out of there unless I have a boat, and so I have no choice but pretty much to drown at this point. And I know the argument for why you couldn't swim in the old GTA games. I believe that it was that the water was so polluted in Liberty City. That's why you couldn't swim in GTA 3. But what about Vice City? You cannot have a Miami-inspired city without being allowed to swim, especially when you're remastering the game. I understand this was 2002 when they made Vice City and 2001 when they made GTA 3, but they're bringing these to PS5 and Xbox Series X now. They should make these characters be able to swim now, because it's going to be such a letdown if you can't swim. It's so frustrating. Swimming would help so much in these games, especially when you're going to certain places like certain islands and such. And some people would say, oh, it might break the game. The police will be too easy to escape from. The police still have helicopters and boats. They can still follow you out there. So swimming would just be more convenient for everyone. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted to make a video on the top 10 things I think the GTA Trilogy should do. I'm sorry for this video being kind of long. It's close to 30 minutes long. I didn't want it to be this long, but I want to talk about some important things that I think the Trilogy should do. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please do drop a like. Maybe also share this video. Maybe post this video on Rockstar's feedback page, because if Rockstar is still developing this game and some of these things they haven't done, if you agree with these things, share it with Rockstar. They might still change some of these things for the better. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone.